him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Now what that means is, when you worship this spiritual God, you got to worship it in spirit and in truth, which means that even though you piss a lot of people off, you still got to tell the truth about things. Okay? Simple. So now if God is a spirit, which it is, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth, then first thing I'm going to do to be in spirit and in truth is tell you it's wrong to have the word him in there, because see, when you put him in there, you make it be limited to males. Okay, now see, they told you that God is a spirit, which means that if it's a spirit can take on manifestations, because a spirit is thought. Okay, a spirit is an inclination of a manifestation that is in the beginning processes of materializing. A spirit is the inducer as well as the conducer of all manifestations. A spirit is the immediate energy from a God source that is designed to give you a purpose to be encapsulated inside of a personification. Spirit is what gives energy to your soul. Spirit is what induces your body as well as your soul. So spirit cannot be limited to him unless you're subscribing to a religion known as Christianity that puts all this spirit into one personification of one God named Jesus Christ, which is a form of idolatry as well as an idol of a graven image. Now that's just speaking to you in spirit and in truth. I don't care if you get mad. Okay, get mad. I don't care, because I'm instructed to do that by the Bible right there. Okay? Peace and blessings. Merry Christmas. I'll be back. Hotel. Mayotte Hotel. Now, Merry Christmas. Again, now listen, I want you guys to know something. The only reason why I'm saying Merry Christmas is for the sake of everybody out there that I'm giving respect to, for you all having a connection with that, but I'm not a part of that. I do it only because I live in a world that is straight up finding use for that, and because I have a use for you guys listening to me, I'm going to give you respect for that, because it's not really anything wrong with sharing vows of tidings of this joy. It's only something wrong with it when you have bad propaganda connected with this action of a group of people that has allowed their numbers to grow so rapidly and perpetuate this type of spendage on necessity of corporation demand that is foolish, and putting hands in the money of the people who enslave you and oppress you, and at the same time, you, without realizing it, you have contributed to the slaughter of the people that is challenged on this planet by these same people who use this same form of propaganda. It's all created by racist theologians who openly give you crazy stuff in their book that's contradictory to this. Anyway, because, you know, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now watch, this is out of the Bible, okay? This is chapter 10. It says, "Hear ye the Lord, which the Lord speaking unto you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord." Now listen, this is what they God, Yahweh, Jehovah, I guess, is telling the people, the children of Israel, these Jews, the Hebrews, okay? "Thus says the Lord, learn," listen what it says. It says, "Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in thy might. Who will not fear thee, O kings of nations? For to thee doth it appertain, for as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdom, there is none like unto thee. So what they're saying is this. Out of all the people they know, well, I'll read this one so I can bring it home to you. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. Silver spread in two plates is bought from Tarshish, and gold from Opaz, and the work of the workmen in the hands of the fonder, blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men, but the Lord is the true God. He is the living God, and an everlasting King at his wrath. The earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. Okay, this is what this is all about. This is about the materialism that all started in Egypt. Now you had your local people who was in Egypt when these invaders or these guys, these other race of people came in, known as the Hyksos, or they call themselves. Let me explain to you what I see them like. They had to be Semite. They had to be a mixture of, well, this is just what I think. I don't have any proof of that. But the point being is that when they came in to Egypt, the Egyptian, the Kemetic people let them in for whatever need, whatever reason, purpose. They were allowed to come in. And when they came in, they brought a lot of their old customs with them. So at certain times of the year, they were the ones who was doing all that Christmas tree stuff. You know, and the people, that Yeshua is the one who was saying this stuff to them, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? Or Jeremiah in this case, they were prophets, and he's saying unto them, choose none of the ways of the heathen. But see, this is what I'm saying. This is a white man pagan thing, not a black person thing. We're not the ones who came up with the Christmas tree stuff. We was taught that from them. So this had to be a melanated prophet talking to other melanated people, saying to them, don't start doing all that crazy, foolish stuff that they're doing. They're the ones who bent out of shape about how the sun works. And every time the sun do something crazy, they so unknowing, they get to acting foolish and everything. You all been on this earth long enough to know what's going on with the sun. So what the hell are you picking up crazy foolishness for? That's what that's all about. That's what it's all about. But they want you to believe that they were the ones who was looking at other people make foolish attempts to worship trees and all this old stuff that we know is not synonymous with us black people around Kemet, because if it was, you would see Christmas trees all on the damn walls in the temples around there. But you don't see that. So what do you see that right now still practiced today amongst the Europeans? Because ever since they started practicing that, they've destroyed other civilizations, and their civilization has remained intact, and that's why this practice is still amongst everyone who they have colonized, because it's a practice of theirs that they have pushed on everyone else. So they're not going to try to use the Bible as if to say their prophet was telling them not to do this, when we know they're the ones who created this. Even if they don't practice it, it's still a cultural activity, a ritualization of ethnicity that's synonymous with Europe, whether it's Germany or Greece or Rome. It's still European. Okay? Hold up, I'll be back. Marriott Hotel. Okay, so now what if Saint Nick was actually what you would call a tyrant, a Catholic priest who went around and actually had a crew of people that rode with him. There was little dwarfs, right? They called Santa little helpers. They were little dwarfs. Now watch this. Check this out. Here's the deal. I read this in a book. I don't remember where the book was. But at one time, those little kids that they had in the orphanage that they was teaching to be all bad as hell, they had a bunch of dwarfs, little bitty short, you know what a dwarf is, we all know. But what they did is, they would dress these guys up in crazy, like, type of funny looking uniform, like what they call the jester suits that we all see now to this day. That's why the Santa elves always have those funny looking little costumes on when you see them. This is true history stuff that you can read in books if you can find them. Now, this Catholic priest, because everybody had no money, and they all owed to the church. So what they would do is they would go around with all these little dwarves and all of their henchmen who were really, really handy at murdering people and was really, really serious terrorists. And they're coming to the city of these people. And the people be in their house with all their doors locked and trying to hide from these people. They were all so afraid all the time because they were seriously terrorized. This is in Europe, way before all of it spread through the rest of the world. And what the job of those little people were was to go up on the roof and go down the chimneys to go into those people's houses and then open the door so they could let all the other people in. Because see, those people had windows, but what they also had that we don't have now was these big pieces of wood inside of their windows where they could shut those things and put locks on them. And then they put chairs and stuff up against the door where it'd be really hard for people to get in their house. So what they would do is they'd also start fires. So these guys couldn't come down the fireplace. So what these guys, what they did, this is what they did to make people come out of their house, because what the guy wanted was the children. This is what they were taking as ransom, was your children. Now this was during poverty time when there was no food and all kinds of stuff. It's rumored that this monarch Catholic priest named Saint Nick was actually eating people's children. And that's the reason why you can see actually pictures of this guy with a corpse of a little baby in his hand, chewing it with the red blood running down around the white body. And that's the reason why at barber shops you have that little funny thing outside in the peppermint sticks. That's what they are all representative of. Now the reason why it's synonymous with the barber shop is because of the barbarism. Okay, barbarism of eating little children, and then barber shop, the act of having your hair cut there, is the same act of any type of mutilation that goes along with the necessity type of actions to devour or eat any type of biology. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm getting at is I want you guys to see this after I told you all that, and just know how Hollywood always used past occurrences of history to perpetuate a way to get you into the movie theaters.
See you tomorrow then. Well, if you're still around by then. Bye.
What did she mean by if you're still around?
It's a full moon tonight. It happens only once every 32 years that there's a full moon on December 5th. Well, according to the legend, St. Nicholas comes to get you when there's a full moon on December 5th.
See her had a child, they want children, that's what they were taking was children.
Nicholas.
Hey,
You really scared me.
are your parents home?
Why?
So you can give me a present.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Timmy, St. Nicholas doesn't exist. I told you 100 times.
We have to take action as a police force. We're here to protect the people.
Prohibition of all St. Nicholas activity.
Everyone thinks it's his birthday, but he died on the 5th of December. He was murdered, horribly murdered, and now he's back for revenge.
St. Nicholas Eve is nice, but you always get junk you don't really need.
We're over the tide! I had a different St. Nicholas Eve in mind.
Marriott Hotel. This is Asar. Greetings. Okay, you see who that is. Advertising for you to drink Coca-Cola. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't drink that. I just put that on there because I just wanted you to see how commercialized Santa really is. You see? Now, you won't see Jesus selling anything like that. No commercialism around Jesus because he gets you in the church. His commercialism is set around him being able to bring salvation to you. Okay, now they changed, the Christians are changing Jesus' birthday all of a sudden from December the 25th because everybody is waking up and figuring out that it would have been too cold out in the Palestinians' meadows or fields where the shepherds would have been herding. They wouldn't have been out there that time of year. They would have already did what they were going to do and called it a year until summer come back, when they go back out, or when spring comes, when the weather is not so unbearable. It's so cold that time of year, December 25th, that you would not be out in the fields with your flock. You would be trying to have business taken care of, and you in seclusion from weather somewhere other than just out in the open area like that, all right? Now, the original story, like I said, was based around sun gods, S-U-N-G-O-D, and S-O-N-G-O-D. The sun god meaning the sun, S-U-N, and the son of God meaning the S-O-N man. Now, I want you guys to listen to what this guy says right here. Listen.
Sleigh across the sky in Scandinavia. Most of the Christmas traditions we are familiar with today share these same roots with King Nimrod, really, is where it all started. Then, around 2,000 years ago, the world was changed forever. The one in which Moses spoke of, the Son of the living God, the Messiah, he was born in the town of Bethlehem in the land of Israel. Interestingly, this new Messiah was the only one whose date of birth was uniquely separate from all the other pagan messiahs before him. Most historical and scriptural evidence suggests that he was actually born during the Feast of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles, when the Word was made flesh and tabernacled, or in the Greek, dwelt among us.
Now I want to point something out to you, everybody. See, you guys think that I'm a bully, and I like to pick on Christianity when I point things like this out, but that's not the truth. What the truth is that Christianity has done a bad injustice to all the other people on the earth who wanted to have a privilege to have their own study of identity with how the universe works and set up their own system of mythology and theological beliefs and their own ideology. But then you get someone come along and force their stuff on everyone else, and then everyone else is not a part of their belief system or a part of their structural nationalism have to be pagan. That's all they always say. Pagan, 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 pagan. I get so sick of being the pagan when we're the ones who go out further and have proof of structural remnants other than any other religion on the planet or any other nationality of people. So our stuff can't be pagan. Okay? We are as original as it comes. So pagan would have to be everybody other than us. And us not being egoistical or arrogant or trying to have superiority. That's just an abiding principle that's ordained by the universe. Now listen to what he said. You see for yourself.
Date of birth was uniquely separate from all the other pagan messiahs before him.
See, pagan messiahs.
Most historical and scriptural evidence suggests that he was actually born during the Feast of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles, when the Word was made flesh and tabernacled, or in the Greek, dwelt among us. That actually puts the birth of the Jewish Messiah, commonly known as Jesus of Nazareth, in the month of Tishri, which would be Septemberish.
Another thing too is when they have their saying of when the Word was made flesh. Let me tell you my interpretation of that, or my definition of that. When they say they word, they mean their lie. When the Jesus lie came into effect. Otherwise, a word becoming flesh is not necessary, because we have spirit that is the abiding inducer of all flesh that I'm going to stick with. You're not going to go from being spirit to being a word that had to have spirit energy around for you to be in creation. The only way a word can become spirit, the only way a word can become flesh is that it has spirit to make it a word. So now what you're doing is eradicating soul and changing soul into word. See, the spirit becomes soul, and then soul gets manifested in flesh. So when they say the word became flesh, that's confusing to me, because the word is always something that comes from the flesh, or the word is something that always comes from some type of manifestation from iconographical, or what we could call metal netter type of thing. In our case, what the Greeks called the hieroglyphics. But to get down to the nitty gritty, you're not going to go from spirit to word to flesh. There's a way that goes. It's spirit animates a soul, and soul is inquired of incarnation in order for it to exist on the spiritual realm. Spirit is always spirit. When spirit encapsulates inside of an encapsulation of flesh, it immediately requires a soul. For the animate activities of the flesh are all governed and designed by the impressions in the heart of the incarnated soul. Okay? All right, I'll be back. Hotel. This is interesting. Check it out.
December 25th came Brumalia, otherwise called Dies Natalis Invicti Solis, or the birthday of the unconquered sun. This is when the days begin to lengthen after the solstice. See, you see there's interchange of presence, that it all rings very true of what kind of we see today. There's numerous winter solstice practices involving gift giving, riotous drinking, decorated trees.
Okay. I was shocked when I saw this. I really was. Look. This is Tahuti right here. You can see he got the sun disk, crescent moon. This right here is obviously an Egyptian scribe or sage. I'm not going to try to figure out which one. It could be any one. I see it's got a scepter, so it's definitely a king. I could say a Sar, anyone. I would think it's Sar in the set because she does have the star over her head. That is called the I can't think of the name right now, but it's the Eastern. That's what they use in the Mason world with what they call the women, the Eastern stars. This star is called, I know it's a set star, but it has another name to it. Is it called Ceres? I think it's called the Rise of the Star Ceres, I think it is, from the constellation of Sirius. But as odd as it might seem, this does look like some type of electrical control device that she would have in her hand that would be synonymous with the placement of light bulbs on these trees. And I mean, that is what it looks like. And I can see right there that these are foundations to hold candles. I can see that. That's what that is right there. And that's also what that is right here that he's holding also. But you can see the Rise of the Star Sirius, which is going to be out tonight if anybody is outside tonight and we have a clear sky, which I doubt because I saw them making clouds when I was out about 3 hours ago. They so freaking diligent at trying to stop the cosmic energy from these light codes from coming to the earth to wake up the people. It's pathetic. I mean, it's like the story of a controlling tyrant that wanted to block out the sun. These bastards are at it 24/7. They don't want any solar light getting in as well as lunar light. It's just ridiculous. But back to the point, it does look like they are putting lights around this tree. But I'm sure it's not in worship of no Jesus Christ being born. It's in worship of the gods of the ancient Nile Valley civilizations that they knew would all manifest around December the 25th. And this is definitely a marking of the rise of the star Sirius, which is synonymous with Yuletide, that the Jewish people call it, or what we all know is just the winter solstice. Real simple. That's all it is. Okay, let's continue.
The child sacrifice rituals were practiced throughout pagan Europe. From tree decorated in Germany to Thor pulling the magical sleigh across the sky in Scandinavia. Most of the Christmas traditions we are familiar with today share these same practices throughout pagan Europe. From tree decorated in Germany to Thor pulling the magical sleigh across the sky in Scandinavia.
Now look. Look at this. You see that key? Huh? Do you see it? Now look. That is a chain. Do you see it? It's a chain. And look what it's chained up to. All these little children that they got inside of a basket. As if kittens in a basket, fish in a basket. In other words, definitely controlled and sustained through the chain. The basket is always something that'll be synonymous with having property or commodities from the market or something like that. In this case, they're children. Look at their faces. The faces, they all look scared and distraught. He has a long red tongue that is synonymous with lapping or eating something. He has straw right here as if to make a fire. Do you understand? That's kindling to make a fire. And then he's black, okay, with ears like a wolf. He has canines right there. You see him? And then he got these devilish red eyes. And as you can understand, his black personification is always a representation around Christianity or white people in general. And then he's got this skull right here. And then they call it Krampus, the Christmas demon. Let me tell you who this is. This is Santa Claus. Okay? I don't care what nobody say, because there is the chain and there is the basket with the kids in it. And this is the same personification of the one we saw where they had the face that covered it up. The only thing is they don't have a red suit now to cover up. The white skin that they show you right there is really the truth and the heart of it, because they show you the face, again, of the white man right there. Do you see? Okay, let's go.
Scandinavia. Most of the Christmas traditions we are familiar with today share these same roots with King Nimrod, really, is where it started.
Again.
Then, around 2,000 years ago, the world was changed forever. The one in which Moses spoke of, the Son of the living God, the Messiah, he was born in the town of Bethlehem in the land of Israel. Interestingly, this new Messiah was the only one whose date of birth was uniquely separate from all the other pagan messiahs before him.
Okay. Again, they separated the birthday to slash the personifications were being black to white. A black man born in the caves of Ethiopia in Africa would have given sustainment to the wise man and the shepherds and everyone coming to meet him, because he would have been in a position where people could have came from all around, because being central to Ethiopia would give him a broad range of people to come from to meet this God. Also, the weather would have been synonymous with herders being out in the field, and also the little drummer boy who had nothing to offer but the beating of his drum would have been synonymous with melanated people, because we are the ones who introduced the world to the drums. Let's go.
Most historical and scriptural evidence suggests that he was actually born during the Feast of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles, when the Word was made flesh in tabernacle, or in the Greek dwelt among us. That actually puts the birth of the Jewish Messiah, commonly known as Jesus of Nazareth, in the month of Tishri, which would be Septemberish, totally separate from the December 25th sun god birth dates.
So, that does not mean that since the God of the Hebrews was not born on December the 25th, doesn't mean that other gods couldn't be born on that day. It just means that their God wasn't. That's all. That's all it means. So just because your God doesn't fit to being born on that day does not mean that by you changing that flaw that you found in your own story, it gives your God more credibility. It just means that there's something else that's inconsistent. That's all.
The apostles in the early Christian church, they abstained from adulterating themselves against their God by participating in these ancient Babylonian sun god festivities. In their scriptures, their God had clearly warned them that doing such actions, in his name especially.
No, I'm going to tell you what's going on, okay? This is what's going on right here.